Hi there again, it's Christina, and I thought I'd show you how I did my backgrounds. This time I can't show you the whole process in one movie in one video because it would take too long to show. So I can show you some of the video in real time and some of the process, and I can take one step at a time. So this will be a background tutorial, somewhat-ish. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for all the positive comments I got in the last video. It really boosts my confidence and gives me inspiration, so thank you for all the nice comments and wonderful words. So I just drawn this straight onto watercolor paper. No sketch, but I had a thumbnail I was following, just an idea, and I just sketched it, drawn it straight onto the watercolor paper this time. Speeds up the process, and it's well, it's okay. So I'm just gonna start with the background, and I start with color, even though it's sometimes best to start with clear water to give it that smoothing, blending sort of thing, but it's easier to see where you have the water when you have some color on it, so that's why I do this. And I saw at once that I did a mistake, because I thought I was going to, around these lamps, I want some different color in the end, maybe some yellow or something, to show light from the lamp. So I just lifted it with some tissue, just lift the paint from the paper. And you can do this, wet it again and lift and wet it again if you do a mistake. You just have to do it straight away, like that. You have to work rather quickly when you do backgrounds. But even though it's kind of messy and not blending perfectly, I don't think that it's any fault in that. Gives it character. So I'm not that before. When I started out with watercolors, I was more of a more detailed and more clean, I guess. I don't care so much anymore. I don't care if it's a bit messy. So, around the chimney, I like that it's kind of oozing out from the chimney, smoke. So when you want something that's white or another color, just don't paint there. So I know I want some white around here, so just try and move the color around on the paper. You can do layers, so the first layer don't have to be perfect, just not too much of these hard edges. Try to smooth them out as much as you can. And here is another lamp. So I have to kind of, I use a lot of water and tissue. It's kind of dumb that you don't see that, so I'm going to move my tissue and water so you can see it there. I got this idea from this nature program that I watched, from the spiders that build, not build, they use this sea snail shells, snail houses that they find on the beach, and they use it as their home. They just use their net and strings to nest them up in trees, and then they have a safe house. So it's kind of a cool thing that I saw on this nature program. I love nature programs and survival things that I can watch on TV. And you learn a lot and you get ideas. So I actually got inspired by this spider, and I thought that in this house a little fairy or kind of a little forest human creature, and beside her or him, the spider has his own nest and house hanging in the tree. That way they can be safe from all the creatures on the ground. So there you go. And you can see that there's a lot of kind of watermarks and around on the paper. I don't think that's, it don't matter, because I'm gonna layer it and fix it. Sometimes it takes a lot of time and a lot of layers, and not all the paper is good with too many layers, but you just have to be quick and not rub the brush on the watercolor paper too much, because that too damages the paper, and you can see like there's kind of this bits going off the paper and you ruin it. So try not to rub it too much, just gently and quickly. And I usually go over to a little bit smaller pencil when it's this small detailed areas. If you have, I was gonna ask this earlier, but in another video, but if you have some I don't know, ideas or wishes that you want me to show you, just comment and I will see what I can do. Not always, I can't do everything, but maybe I can do what you ask and make a video out of it. So just don't be shy and tell me if you want me to show you anything. Just try, just ask and I will see what I can do. You see, this is not I'm being gentle, but I'm not being too careful. I just want the paper, well, I want the color to just blend a little and move it around somewhat. And it is sky, so very rarely the sky is one color, so it doesn't matter if it's kind of look like clouds. If you get this kind of watermarks and all that, it looks like something's supposed to be there. So don't be too hard on yourself if you get this kind of edges. But the hard edges, that's I don't know if you can see it, but kind of this, when you paint to an area where you're not supposed to be having color, not yet anyway, you get these hard edges, and you can remove them with color. I'm just gonna let my cat out because she's meowing on the door. So wait a minute, sorry about that. My cat wanted to go out. She doesn't want to go out that much in winter, but she has to sometimes, of course. This is now, I'm gonna take away some paint that is coming to the edges where I don't want it, because I don't want the tree to be blue. But just the hard edges. You don't have to erase the color completely, but just the hard edges, so you don't get this, well, the edges. When you paint the tree brown or something, you don't want it to have this clear blue edge. This is now drying, so I don't want to mess it up, even though I have these watermarks and some of the spots that I haven't painted, and I just leave it and let it dry. I'm just gonna have some color above the branch here, but don't mess around when it's when it's kind of dry but not completely, because then you can destroy more than you repair. So try and just leave it to dry. I don't have this kind of what do you call hair dryer. I don't have the dryer. Sorry, my voice is like sorry, but I don't have a hair dryer to, well, I have a hair dryer, but I don't use it on this type of thing. I just let it dry. It's better to take a break from it sometimes. When you come back, it's with fresh eyes and you see more than you know. So I don't want to rush the painting by just paint it straight away. So this I do over a couple of days. but I'm now gonna let it dry some and come back when I'm putting the second layer on. Now it's dry. I've been waiting an hour maybe. You can see when it's wet it's kind of wobbly and wrinkly, and now that it's dry it's kind of flattened out because I use this kind of tape. Tape. I use it to flatten it down to cardboard. So now the second layer, I was thinking to give it more of a character. I was going to have it darken down here and more light as I go upwards. That way these kind of light lamps and the light around the lamps show more. So I start downwards and just do the same as I did before. And you can see that very much of the watermarks that was there a minute ago disappears under the second layer. So it's very forgiving to have layers. It's time consuming, but it's very forgiving, and watercolors is almost all about layers because it's smart to start light and go up to darker. So now I hadn't blend enough wash, this blue light wash that I use. It's kind of multiplied by different blues and a lot of water. So I'm just gonna, instead of stopping and blend colors, I kind of blend them out by doing like this and take away those edges. Not much edges here, but like that. And I have to let it dry again because if I blend colors and then start to paint over this who's just half dry-ish, it would mess up the paper again. So I will blend some colors so I can show you that while this is drying. I use this kind of pipette, or what it's called, to take up the water for my glass and into this blending palette, and I use this paintbrush to take some colors. This is kind of a very heavy color, and I know my colors, so I know which to blend. Some of the colors I have is from way back, and it doesn't say what's it doesn't say on the box what color it is, so I don't know. I think this one I have is a Prussian blue, which I love. Prussian blue. It's kind of a grayish blue. And I have this palette, which is kind of a pastel. I've mentioned this a few times. Pastel from Prima or something, Prime, which I use a lot. I love those colors. It's very heavy colored. I know it's kind of whitish, some of them, because it's pastel. You have to have white in it, and that makes it kind of very thick. I can call it thick, I think. And you see the color has changed a lot with white in it. I just, when I want it to be dry, darker down here, I don't use black all that much. I just, some I can, because it's make it a bit more, the color a bit more dirty, and I kind of like that, not clean colors. But the best thing is to take a color and not use white and black, but some of these colors you use in those palettes are black and white with it, so you can't exclude it entirely, but use less of it, black and white. If you want white in watercolors, you should not paint there, or I use this gel pen when I want this kind of white dots or marks. But if you want like this, when this is the smoke from the chimney, I just paint less there. I paint around it so it shows. Now this is still not dry. You can see it's kind of bumpy, but this will definitely straighten out when it's dry. So the best thing is to wait till it's dry. So bye. Now that the second layer is dry, I can continue with my third layer. And same old. Sometimes I make the color darker, but it should make it darker with layers, so you can stick with the same color as you did with all the layers. Or you can make it darker. As you can see, it's quite a process and it takes time, so I can't do a whole video. Even if you would like, some of you would like that, I can't do a whole video in real time. That is not possible for me. And I don't have that much to talk about anyway, so, but if you have questions, I would love to try and answer. I'm not an expert in this. I just do what I like and what I've been doing, experiencing work and doesn't work. I just paint by that. And it helps to watch other artists do it also, but I try not to do that too much. But sometimes you need inspiration and someone may be more experienced than you are, so sometimes it helps to just look at what others do. I hope I can be of some help, but as I said, I'm no expert. Someone last time thought I was sick when they heard my voice, and that's funny. I'm not sick, even though my voice isn't quite what it usually is because it's winter, and yeah, but I'm not sick. I'm not. This is the voice I come with, unfortunately. But it's funny when someone thinks I'm sick. I'm not offended at all. You can see when you put layers on layers here that it's make these lighter areas around the lamps and around the smoke, but it come forward when you put some dark colors behind it. I just sometimes switch between the brushes so that I can do more detailed work with smaller brushes. Watercolor is, if you are careful, it is quite easy to move around when you do some small mistakes and you have a light color. It's easy to just erase or move around and fix what you've done. I don't know if I would live here in this house. I would imagine it would be quite of a swinging effect when you move around. But it's just an idea I got when I saw these spiders, as I told you before. Thought it was kind of fun. I imagine I would put some more color on the background until I'm happy with it, but for now you have seen what I've done and what I usually do. I probably would maybe 2 layers more to get the effect that I want, that it's darker down here and it's lighter up there. So that's now it's time to quit real time and kick it into time-lapse. So hope you will stay tuned. Bye.